What's good, y'all? This is Pablo. Welcome back with another episode of ATM Around the Music. I'm here with my uncle Frank,
Yes,
right?
I'm good. I'm good.
He is a director, designer, overall just
Right.
creative entity. We're gonna learn about his journey, what he's done, some of his projects, and just get to know him a little bit more. So,
Right.
welcome back, and we're gonna get started.
Thank you. Thank you, bro.
What's up? How you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great.
What you eat for breakfast?
I
I like to start off with breakfast.
breakfast. I had a turkey bacon
Turkey bacon.
and some toast. That's it.
Turkey bacon and toast. That's the breakfast of champions.
And decaf coffee.
Decaf coffee.
Decaf coffee. No cream.
No cream. No cream. What's with the cream?
Yes. So
Tell us about.
thank you for doing this.
Oh,
First of all, I know it takes a lot to set things up and get it going. It was the first cry at times, and you got to work out the kinks and make sure you get it right.
Right.
And so I know it takes a few tries
Yeah.
to perfect not just the sound, but the pictures and everything else.
The branding, the look, the feel, the whole
Actually, absolutely.
I'm the type of person to where like I love to obsess over the details and like get really into things, but I realize that sometimes that can mean like I'll just won't ever get started because I'm pre-planning so much.
Right.
With this project, I'm honestly just trying to like do it as
Freestyle it.
freestyle, as college casual.
Yes.
We'll
Yeah.
give up some things as we go.
Yes. You got to start. You have to start something.
Right.
And when you start, you can see your mistakes. You can see, work out the kinks.
Right.
Eventually get to perfection, which never really happens, So I thought you were doing this.
Thank you.
I think that, the situation of film and filmmaking in this generation has changed.
Right.
Since you have more equipment, you have more access to good technology, you have access to editing, you have access to telling good stories with artificial intelligence, so the spectrum is wider.
Right. A lot of resources are funneling down to us at our disposal.
Right. And there's a lot of when you get back to the actual cinematic art form, right? There are people that have laid down the foundation for this craft.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes what we see in the media today don't respect that integrity, because it's an art form and only very few people actually speak that language.
Right.
From Scorsese to Spielberg to Aronofsky, to Brian Coogler or younger generation. But it's an art form. Film is an art form that is really a director's medium. Because actors work on stage.
Right.
Film is not an actor's medium. It's a director's medium, but the stage and theater is an actor's medium. So when they say action on stage, you do whatever the director says you should do, but he can't control you. Because for act 1, 2, and 3, you're being an actor for the stage.
Right.
And the audience is like they're receiving the information directly. But when it comes to film media, the director's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
He shoots the story, goes in the studio, and cuts the film alone. So he knows, he produces the final product.
Mm-hmm.
And so actors have to be subject to whatever he says. And that's the difference.
That's cool. Because I feel like when it comes to like big projects, like a movie, right, it's the director's job to like have to understand the idea of the movie to like its purest essence,
right?
To in a way so where you can't even like put into words what like the feeling of the movie is supposed to like lead you towards. Like, oh, this scene, yeah, I can say this, that word, but it's supposed to feel this way.
Right.
And no one understands that feeling better than the director.
That's true.
We don't often hear about like theater and film being like kind of like two different mediums, because there's both actors in those type of films, but in those types of mediums, but the way of their control and where they're able to like execute, have their own say and creativity fluctuates from theater to film.
Right. So what's been your background? What's your take on what you're doing now with this project? Because I know you have your media this not just the projects, but your platform. It's designed for something. Because you had an interview with a music proprietor, right, recently. So what is your angle? What's your angle with this?
With this, with ATM, the whole goal is, like I've worked in design jobs for the past 2 years and such, and very grateful for those opportunities. But I just felt like a lot of companies didn't like value design the way I felt like it could be.
Right.
Not because I think my job is the most important or anything like that, but I understand the power that my job can have when companies can give it the right amount of attention and such. And not only was the design not getting that right amount of attention in my jobs, but designers, like the creative people, I was getting like berated or belittled over like middle skilled things or asking to do, perform X, Y, and Z things outside of my position, whatever. But that's all that to say is that like breaking into the creative space is not easy. It's not like study this, do that, and then you're solid. It's a very like figure it out yourself type of thing, or like a DIY career route, whatever. So the idea with this is, since so many people make their footing in the creative space, there's so many different ways. I want to actually like to show like how different people have been able to do the work that they've done in their own way, in their own route. Because especially in the creative space, everyone's
when it comes to design, right? My first degree is in design.
Right.
So I studied visual communication.
And real quick, why don't you tell everybody like your background, like what you studied, like your
So I'll come back to your question, but the reason that people are very confused about this crazy space and where they belong at, right, is because the focus is lost. So when an architect designs building, right, but he also has to be an engineer because he deals with the strength of materials, he deals with the weather, he deals with economics of how things feel in the building, and he deals with the visual appeal of the product. Now, when it comes to being a designer, visual communication is a language, right? So Apple, right? Steve created a system. Designers create systems, Frank Lloyd Wright created buildings in the 60s. And communication is a huge part of design. So therefore, when you create a product, right, that is well designed, like the Apple phone, the iPhone, there is a level of discipline that comes with how you feel the chiaroscuro, the texture of materials, the way things, economics of materials, right? You understand issues of style and taste. You study the specificities of and nuances of design,
right,
not just bland design, but design that has
like that meaning,
has that meaning,
attention
that sends a message.
Right.
And that's why when you see people like Kendrick Lamar and his release of his album, as the outpouring of emotions in his presentation, is the reason he's a megastar. And there's so many things that can be touched with the way he brings out his projects. And the same thing goes with like Jay-Z or Kanye West. And so you find that when it comes to creative space, especially design, you have to make a statement. Like, if you're not making a statement, then it really is for the dog. It doesn't make any sense. Your statement has to inspire. Right.
It's
so exactly. So my background, back to you, is in design. I studied design in England, in Birmingham, in a place called Wolverhampton University. And when I did design, they had no Mac computers. We had to do with Express. We had to do with like desk publishing software. It was called DTP. So we had to produce things first by hand and then with computers. But now you grab, you have a Mac and you have everything in there. Everything is there. Photoshop is there. You can use, different fonts. You can animation. You can, you're all over the place. All the tools are there now. You can express yourself with no limits, basically. And then when it comes to film, again, we have all the equipment to editing software there. So there's no limit to what you can do. Now, because of that, there's a lot of crap online.
Right.
Because everybody has access to good media, there's crap online, nonsense online. In fact, half the stuff online are useless. So very few people make an impact online. Very few people actually have important things to say online. Even podcasts and shows and films and music videos. It's only when you have media communicating at a higher level that people actually get drawn to you. Because most of the time, it's just trash. You get it? So I study people that do it right because they're very few. And people like Nipsey Hussle.
Right.
And the whole branding of his products was high level. Yeah. And now there's so many podcasts that do the same too. So there you go. The British people, the British culture is a little different from the United States. In the States, we have, first of all, in England, when I went to college, we had 3 TV stations. So 3 TV stations. But the first year I spent in the States, there was no less than 30 channels on regular TV, not even cable. Like regular TV had like 30 channels. So your remote is like that. And they had no Instagram back then. But now your feed is hitting so fast. There's a million different impressions every day. In fact, you're watching over 6,000 impressions a day. That's how much data is passed through your fingers. So that means that our level of concentration is out of whack, because how can you focus on anything when there's so much impressions? Bro?
I think that I hear people say that we're in the attention economy right now.
Right.
We're like, it's not even like just straight up trying to get the sale or someone to like buy your product. It's how long can you hold their attention?
Yeah, it's true. Because when I scroll on Instagram, I don't use TikTok that much. I use Instagram. When I go on Instagram and I'm looking at some stuff, the first frame, if it's trash, I move on. Right. I don't even bother looking at what the title is or what if it's trash. If
my eyes don't like it,
but if it's something that engages me, I stay and I watch it. Right. Sometimes I engage more, especially on YouTube. I leave a comment or something, but most of the time, I like the way algorithms work now, because the more you search for things, those things will also search for you. So, as you look for things, if you're into fashion and you look for fashion leads to stuff all. You start seeing more things like that for your fashion, leads on your feed. That's what happens, especially with the relationship where with online. But I'm also very interested in what artificial intelligence is doing to media, because now, as you know, Hollywood is failing badly with just not we can't keep up with the budget. And like, if you want to spend, how can you justify Warner Brothers spending $200 million on a movie when a small studio can make the same film on the AI for $20? You can make a feature-length film, 90 minutes long, with AI, with no actors, just artificial intelligence, all fixed.
Like 100%.
100%. There's been commercials, Coke commercials, Nike commercials, made with just AI, completely. No actors, nothing. Nothing is real. And they can do it for less than $30.
That's wild.
So how do you compete if you can make, there's a film that Will Smith has, the new, what's it called? The big franchise, the boys, what's it called? Bad Boys. Bad Boys 5, I think it's Bad Boys 5. It's coming out right now, right?
Okay.
I think next summer, right? So in shooting that film, if you see behind the scenes of the film, Will had about 5 cameras on it, like in the shoulders, face, everything. And he was shooting and blasting around with his cameras in the streets, but 6 cameras around him. And it was so intense. And you realize that for him to compete with all the AI that's going on right now, his live action sequences have to be next level. The explosions have to be even more spectacular than normal, because you can use the AI and create explosions that rival, big directors, So therefore now you have to really have a good product. We'll spend that $30 to watch a film. You have to utilize everything that's going on. So now we're back to simple storytelling, like the simplicity of a good story. If you have a bad story and all this AI everywhere, nobody's gonna say it.
Right.
So Sinners is a good story.
Yeah.
You know, Black Panther was a good story. Now, I saw a new one with Latinos underwater, right? I don't know what that is. You not seen that? There's some trailers out there with, a kingdom underwater, and it's all Latinos in the new Black Panther. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's just amazing to me that Hollywood, if they want to turn a film like Snow White with dinosaurs and black gorillas running around, you do. So it doesn't matter if the money is, if you tell them that Snow White can turn to a serial killer and they'll make 20 million, that movie will get made ASAP. ASAP. It's not about, it's about commerce, right? So most of the time, young directors like yourself will get confused about the story. They hold on to the beauty of the story they want to tell so much.
Yeah.
That's Hollywood doesn't get.
Yeah. It's not sellable. So like English,
Right.
which is also why I've realized in like the past few years, there's been so many like unoriginal like movies, like the Judo movie,
Right.
like all these other like toy type movies,
Right.
for the Michael Jordan shoe.
Yes.
We're using like even making movies off like products now. Like we also, I know the writer strike last year made it like a lot harder for Hollywood to like fund a lot of writers to like produce quality ideas and written movies and such.
We're getting back to a place where, if you look at the history of television, television was actually created because they wanted to sell commercials. So television sets were made, they came into fruition in the 50s because moms were home, men were working. After the First World War, I think, men were going to work, women were home, and housewives were home, and they were near, like some of them keep them engaged. So television was created for that purpose, to sell commercials.
So for as long as there's been TV, there's been commercials.
Yes. So the television was created for commercials to be sold, but the shows were interspersed just so that they can sell those products. So when you go on YouTube right now, by the time you hit skip, there's 10 more skips waiting for you, like commercials. They even use content. There's more commercials than content on YouTube. In fact, that's it. That's how they make their money, from commercials.
Sometimes I find it so funny, like let's say your phone like barely has any connection, like low data, low Wi-Fi. You can't play a video, but it's going to play the ad. It's going to play the ad.
Ad is stuck to your face, right?
Yeah.
And as long as this ad being played in front of you, they're collecting data. So even if you don't watch them, they're still collecting data on your face, where you are, location, what you're doing, what your habits are. It's picking up all this metadata that's used to sell you even more.
Right.
So I think when you go back to the history of what television is, we're getting back to a point now where people want to watch what they want to watch when they want to watch it on the device they choose. So people want to watch what they like to watch, right? When they want to watch it on the device they choose. So I have 2 subscriptions, one for Netflix and one for BET. I go on Netflix, I watch what I want to watch when I want to watch it in my own time. And I pay for that luxury, right? So I don't have to wait for the movie to appear. I go watch it when it comes out, right? If it's favorable or not. So when it comes to BET, I watch the black shows I'm going to see in real time. And that's it, 9 until a month. And I cut it out. I don't have to deal with cable, deal with everything, deal with the theaters. So there's a more esoteric way of looking at media and consumption of media these days. And it has to do, it serves a good thing. It serves the future. It serves this generation much better than it was in the past. Because in the past, you made a film, you had to wait for the theaters to get it out on the Cineplex. And then you buy your popcorn, go sit and make a date. And then you wait for the numbers to come in. But now, you can make Spider-Man, it can be on TV, you can make screens on your phone. In 10 days, you just release a show. as opposed to waiting for premieres to happen.
I guess like a lot of question for producers now is if they have a movie together, if they should release it in theaters first as a blockbuster or to pump it straight out to like different streaming services and stuff.
Right, right. It doesn't make it is expensive to release feature films in the theaters unless you're under the law. If you're a big film, right, then it makes sense for the film to go global, right? To open up in 40,000 seats in California, 6,000 seats in Texas and New York and Atlanta, right? But if it's not a big film, straight to DVD or straight to streaming services, it just makes more sense.
More economical.
Absolutely, because to rent a movie theater costs like $100,000 to rent a good like a whole weekend at the AMC costs like 100G. So if a movie is not making 4 times that, it makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense to run it, right? But in there's a book I have on Amazon right now. So basically it talks about how to make a film in 10 days and make 10 grand. So it goes into Mariachi, the film called Mariachi with Robert Rodriguez back in the 90s with Quentin Tarantino. Those guys, they would, go into filmmaking. So you shoot something quick, something that's very hard to watch, and then basically put it out there. Rent a movie theater, put your film out there, sell tickets for 3 days, make your money and bounce. That's the play. That's the play. Because you can have a script, right, and beg Hollywood. They hit you with the racism, they hit you with no budget, they hit you with all the crap that comes to that play, and then you're stuck. You're frustrated, right? So my play is get the film, look at the film, look at the script, right? Cast it, get 2-3 thousand, rent a place, shoot it in 1 weekend or 2 weeks at most. Editing, cutting, everything ready. When the product is ready, you're clean. You own the product, you send the copy to MPA, Motion Picture Association of America. You lock it in your intellectual property, and then you release it. Just rent it. You rent an AMC movie theater. You rent a theater, one room, for like maybe like $1,000 a day, right, for 6 hours. And the movie is like 90 minutes. So you run the film like three times.
And you're displaying it in theaters?
In the theaters. You call the manager, get AMC on the phone, go in there and book it. You can book it yourself.
How are you fill up the seats for the theater then?
How you fill the seat? You market the show. You market while you're shooting. You have a setup where pre-production is discussed, right? While you're casting the film, you're talking about it on YouTube. You're talking about it everywhere. So you spread the word while you're shooting. When you're done shooting, you go to enough audience to see the film, right? 500. There's 500 phones. Numbers in phone right now.
Right? That's true.
Yeah, that's true, right? They do nothing. They're like, your filmmaker, well, they can give you $5. I mean, they give you $10. Popcorn is $5, right?
It's more expensive ticket.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what it takes. All you need is 20. You don't need $1,000 from them. You just need $20 for the weekend. Bring your friends. Bring your friends. Tell a friend. 3 people Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and make 10 grand. You walk away. You shoot the next film. That's how we do it. There's nothing to shy about. So if you want to shoot like that, you have to give people what they want. Big guns, big ass, big tits, jump in, shoot it, make it happen. If you go in there, if you go in there and be a nub, nobody will see your film. Go in there and be a romantic, nobody will see your film. You need some gangster raps, right? The soundtrack got to be popping. Streets got to want it, right?
Yeah.
The girls got to be there. It's got to be popping, right? And then you see, what's funny is this, right? When it comes to poor films, I don't want to call them a low budget films because I prefer to use the word poor films. When you're making poor films, you have to be dramatic, right? And the films have to hit hard. They can't be like a beautiful Western, beautiful prairie.
Like too subtle, too atmospheric. Stay in your face. Yes.
See, let me just. If your budget is low, the film got to be strong.
Right.
So it's not like, you're going there to make people fall in love. No. You got to go in there blast. You need the biggest guns. See, let me tell you something. Go to the gun range, find some real white boys that know how to shoot. you're not going to use real bullets, right? But you want some ambo boys. You want this. Um, I don't want to say racist, but you to find the white boys that know how to really shoot, right? Hire them, bring them to the set, so that when you shoot, you're shooting for real, like you're blasting away. And if the girls are shy, they can't be in a film. You want a girl that's really doing it, that's on the pull, that knows how to catch that pull.
Doing it for the love of the game.
See, you know the cast people in film that have red blood, boiling red blood, because you got to be ready to do things that nobody wants to do on film. You got for your film to be hot. Remember, you're dealing with Brad Pitt. You're dealing with tough stars. You're dealing with people that's what I like films that it's an actor, it's a director made a film recently. It's called it came out Black Guy. It's
last year.
3 years ago, like 3 years ago. His name skips my mind right now. I remember in a few minutes. But basically, traffic stop, LAPD kills, shoots a guy or arrests a guy. Something happened. No, someone was in the car with him. Car pulls up, cop car pulls up, and shoots son. And he retaliates. He like hit up the LAPD person and locked down the whole place and said take everybody out. So it was like real shit and real craziness. Like it was really, really it's a black guy director's film, and he you see what you don't have in budget, you got to make up with gangster vibe. You got to make up with real crazy, you know, scenes that I had to stomach, right? Because you see, that's why Scarface and films like that were great, because they showed real killing, real blasting, real drug problems. The conflicts in these films, right? Brian De Palma, when he shot Scarface, um, Cuban American, drug dealers, Al Pacino under the guy. So it's like you're dealing with the intensity of that moment, right?
It really stimulates.
Yeah, exactly. So people are trying to make it, right? So nowadays, hustlers that are out there are trying to get money. So every time you see a young black guy or a young Latino person on film, hungry, trying to get people, right? It's always polarizing to watch. So if you give them Brokeback Mountain, black guy the horse, right? Trying to find out some lady what can stop. Nobody wants to see that. They want to see the negative stuff. That's what sells. People don't want to see romantic stuff. That they either for tall white girls with blonde hair. That's when you're a black woman or black guy on film, you got to be either gangster or like total killer in the way you arrange yourself, the way you present yourself. It's got to be because I know it's sad, but he has to fit the stereotype and he has to amplify it. Kanye West is crazy, right? But because he's crazy, Adidas gave him $300 million. All these guys cutting big checks for him. Why? Because they know he's crazy, right? I saw a video when he did a video with his son. I think the song's called Bully. The album's called Bully. And the song is like an hour long. And it's so beautiful. But it's just a song beating up a bunch of clowns. Because it's black and white. Because it's so artistic, but it's kind of, right, understand? So, you can expect that from him. There are very few people that are on his level creatively. You know what I'm saying? And so, every time you read about his work, it's excellent. It's on a whole different level. If Kanye West is Steve Jobs was here, Kanye will work on Steve Jobs because he's on that page. The same thing with Pharrell. Pharrell's on that page. Mm-hmm. That's why he's head of Gucci. The Gucci. Louis Vuitton, right? So that's why he's doing transition from, VA hip hop to that. You can see the stretch, and that's how you got to be. Every time, I'm not saying you got to be black to do that. I'm just saying that if you're black, you got to be prolific in what you do. Yes, that's it. You can just do what everybody else is doing because we don't get this kind of break, right? That's why Tyler Perry has a good business model. He writes a story, produces them, has his own studio, has his own top channel. On BET has a big giant fan to BET, and he releases a film on those channels, right? So he owns the product and the merchandise and the sale. He owns the
full means of production.
yeah, if the supply chain belongs to them, you can't lose when you're like that because your pivot, you're like your staple in the game. You're not begging for someone. Like, it doesn't need to beg white folks to give him a break because he created his path.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, okay, it's about us doing that. That's the lane to be out. Because if you want to beg for a script to be sent to you, your agent does be hard. By the time it says yes, by the time you get the part. So look at it this way: go to IMDb.com right now and look at white actors, look at black actors. Let's take Diggs or take Lawrence Tate, black actors, below 40 or 40 something, right? You take Jake Gyllenhaal and Josh Hartnett. These are top actors, right? Or the same age. And look at what they're doing. They have 10, 15 films. Black guy has 2 films. Upcoming film. It's not working. Hollywood is not working. These are top actors that shoot Michael Beach. These guys are not really working.
Mm-hmm.
So they might get a small TV show here and there because 50 Cent has a brand or Tyler has a brand, right? That's it. It's Tyler and 50. Those are the ones that put the films out. They have to put a movie out, studio level, right? That's it. There's 2. So, but on the other side is me. So that's why we have to change that narrative.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of self-confidence that comes with the trusting yourself to be able to do things like that.
Right.
Because I think for a lot of like artists and creatives, it takes a really long time that for that eye of really good creativity. Like you can recognize it, but your ability to execute that same great idea on your own, there's a gap between them.
Right.
So it takes a while for that ability to increase, so your confidence can increase. And it's like I feel like a lot of younger creatives, we feel like we have to like fit the mold of what's already going on around us because we see what's working and what's good. So we have to figure out how to do that. But once you reach like Kanye, Tyler, or Pharrell level of creativity and excellence, like you can literally just make your own path, make your own decisions, and
Right. Right.
you have 30 years of creativity to back it up.
Right. See, here's the thing, right? My first film that I shot in America, right? I shot it in 2000, or is it 2000? Maybe 2001, right? It's called Snowflake Hustle. Romantic comedy. That's how Love Jones was happening back then, So that was the play. What I did was I rented a double-decker bus, filled it up with actors. There was a small drama club in LA, like on Crenshaw. It was called Doughboys Does. And I went there because I wrote the film, got the script, right? And I was like, I want to cast it, I want to shoot myself. And I went to Doughboys Dustins because he had an act class. It's closed now. He actually passed, rest his soul. But anyway, he had this drama class and there were many actors there. So I went there to go recruit actors. I went there, stay with him for not with him, but I participated in the acting or whatever it was, long drama class, for like a month. I found my actors there, cast them, gave them the script, they read it. I'm in my apartment in Carson. I got my cameraman. It was double XL2, I think, on what XL, Canon XL2. We had the big fat cameras. Had it, got this guy to shoot it. It was a DP. And we set it up. About 6 actors came to my apartment. We shot the whole film in like 2 weekends. But I had the tape in my hand. We cut it. And we cut it, I don't gotta say it. But before we shot it, we shot 3 scenes, 3 major scenes. One in my apartment, there was one that was on the bus going to downtown LA. So we're on the bus and we arrived at my Johnston Theater. That was the meeting point in downtown, in Crenshaw District. It was my Johnston Theater there. It's called the Magic Johnston Theater, AMC. So we pulled up in the parking lot. All my actors got on a bus. Got a driver. I had a bus, like a double-decker bus. And then we drove on the 110 freeway. The police pulled us up. So when the
Only on sir.
right, so they said, "What's cool?" First of all, this is like 40 black people on a bus upstairs. Oh, no roof, right? Lights everywhere, microphone. They're like, "What's going on here?" They pulled us up. I came out of the street. They said, "What's this?" No permits, nothing. Like we had no permits. So the cops are like, "Okay, you're the director." I said, "Yes, sir." So they step down. So I go down. I'm like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? I'm shooting film, right? This is LA. Said first of all, the 110 freeway shouldn't have film with no permit. You got more balls than that, but I said, listen, so I can afford the permits. Permits like $400. I was like, okay, you know what? You got too much balls. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna escort you. True story. Two cops in the back, one of them front, one in the back. I'll give you the escort and it will do you a favor. We're not gonna give you a ticket because I like what you're doing. We're gonna take you down to the Holiday Inn. Right? I want you to tell your drivers to drive this bus off the freeway. That's danger. People are stopping and watching you there. I said, this is not Hollywood. This is a freeway. This is a 110 freeway. So take this bus and park at the Holiday Inn. I'm not going to give you a ticket, but just please, we're going to give you escorts. So the cops escorted us to Holiday Inn. When we pulled up in Holiday Inn, they were so excited. They thought it was a movie set. They thought the movie was going on. So I told Herman, film the cops. I filmed the cops. Added to my shit, right? I was like, listen, film everything. We get to Holiday Inn. Holiday Inn with this nighttime, like 8 p.m. They're like, the movie's on. I said, yeah, it's movie's on. No planning. I said, give us some food. They said, yeah, they put some sandwiches in my team, and my guys are eating. And we chilling in the parking lot at Holiday Inn. And we ended the film that we shot the last take there. And we told my driver, take your bus home. Actors, fire your car, mouse. It's a wrap.
So the cops know they're gonna be a part of it.
The cops were the fool, the movie. The cops never know. When they go to movie set, all they do is stand there and protect the set. But this is my chance for them to my shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, get in. Shoot everybody. So I got that footage. I took it over. I was like, damn, we have a movie. So we cut it. I didn't do anything on that film.
Right.
All I did was take it to Sundance. When I got to Sundance, right, the usual it's not this. All the rules are broken. I didn't do it. I didn't enter the competition properly. So there's two competitions on Sundance. There's the first one, which is like the big boys. Today is good to that level. And there's a second competition that you don't hear about, but it's there. It's in Sundance.
Okay.
But it's for people like us. They're crazy, right? So they said, listen, we'll put you on the second batch. So they put me on the second batch. I got in the small medal, a small certificate, and went Sundance. I'm good, right? But the big guys are the ones that have the spritzers come see and try to get a deal with them, right? So I was still new. I didn't care. It's first film. But they had balls. I didn't wait for an agent. I didn't wait for a producer to help me. I didn't wait for the banks to. It was my model. It's just my film. It's my shoot. I paid everybody, and it's my take. So I learned so much from that. I learned so much from just going, just having the balls to go, and stop waiting. That's a problem. That was a lesson. If you wait, nothing happens. If you activate, guess what? See, from the time I said I was going to make the film to the time I said I shoot it, every actor called me, every director called me, every agent called me. And I said, no, I'm shooting. I'm shooting. I don't need your money. I'm shooting. It's going to be in LA. We're going to be on the street. We're out here. And we're going to shoot.
Right.
You can't stop. Hollywood can't stop me. Warner Brothers can't stop me. Sony can't stop me. I'm going to shoot here in LA in your eyes with no purpose. Balls out. It's like
To break against the world.
it's for real. So because first of all, I'm Nigerian, right? So it's not like you're gonna shock me or scare me. Right? And then I'm looking at these boys and they're talking about what they're gonna do, but the bottom line is nobody's doing it. So when I came in, I started doing it. They was like, "Yeah, that's the boys. That's him right there. That's the guy." So that gave me the balls to form the American Film Award. And then once I had that behind me, I was able to suck the Blair Underwood and really start talking to actors because there was no fear. I was like, yeah, I can shoot. I've shot. It's crap, but I shot it.
Right. You can't tell me I didn't do it.
I shot it, and the cops gave me escort.
Mhm.
How many times you see cops, LAPD on bikes, escorting black guys on the street? How many times you see that? Never.
Oh, that's a movie in itself.
So they're like, at least it's not gang banging. It's not out here smoking weed. He shouldn't have fallen. We're gonna support him. And the cops were right there in my face, helping me out. But if I didn't step out, it would never happen.
Right.
If I begged for my script to be read by an agent, it would never happen. But there's a camera and the actor out here, all unemployed and broke. I'm shooting them.
Right.
I'm shooting them. So now, this generation is different. That was 20 years ago. Now, you have access to the cameras. iPhone can shoot, like you can shoot stop in a second. You can cast it. You don't have to pay too much to get involved with the script. The script is polite and good. People will show up for your film, right? And that's what I always advocate for. Shoot it and then talk. If you don't have a product, then you have to beg. But if you have a product is king. Product brings conversation. Product brings you to the front of kings, you know. So if you can't negotiate in front of kings because you have no product, you have no career. I know many young black actors today that do not have parts waiting for them. You can go down the line from Chris Tucker to Chris Rock to Tay Diggs to Blair Underwood to Lawrence Tate. You can just keep stepping now. You don't see a black actor in Hollywood that's working all the time. Doesn't happen. It's just Will, Denzel. You can kind of
B. Jordan.
B. Jordan is there, yeah, for sure. And you came from Ryan Coogler. All the tunes from Ryan Coogler, basically. In a Prince Station, Black Panther, all the times with Ryan Coogler. So if Ryan wasn't there, he won't have
Not even like industry wide.
dude. So you know what I'm saying? So that's the way I see it. We gotta shoot our stuff. We gotta write it. We gotta cast it. We gotta shoot it. That's why I like people like Akil LeBrock. It's a nice producer called Akil LeBrock is her name. Look at and even the woman that made King, movie King, um, with the British actor Black David Oyelowo did played Dr. King. And the director, she's from Compton. She's female. She's good, dope. So these, I think her name is Duvernay. Her name is Duvernay. Duvernay is her last name, right?
Okay.
I think it's Aubrey. It might be Aubrey Duvernay. I'm not sure, but she's a good, like, award-winning director. But she writes a project and she shoots them. So there are very few, besides these two one I mentioned, the Akil LeBrock and Duvernay, there are very few producer directors that are black females that are in Hollywood, right? And these two are powerful and they're good. They're producing product all the time. And so we need, I can't even name more than 3 black directors writing. Is that right? And maybe
And I think Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele is one because he's the largest stuff, and you see, I look at directors that have the latitude. So, because Spike is on the see, but the Spike doesn't raise the money, he can't make the film because we all depend on money to make films. So, we'll get to the point where black hot producers in Hollywood have the power to write some big checks. Because you can write the checks, we have the gifts, we have the talent. You can put a lot of guys that are not working to work, right? So I don't want to make it a race, man, but it's not racial, but it's just that we simply don't have the manpower to green light to bring the films that are good.
Long-standing legacy to like look for
People's working. See, I like Denzel, right? But now that Denzel's a state man in the industry, Denzel, and Morgan Freeman, they should, and Sidney Poitier, I'm not sure if Sidney Poitier is still alive, but they should be focused on raising funds to build a black or at least um, a foundation to sponsor black films because we can't depend on Jewish people to give us money all the time. They just simply they have their own stories. They have their own things they want to go in life, right? They may not be as polarized as black films, but who's gonna tell our story? Like who's gonna tell?
It's going to tell it well.
Yes, tell it well. Tell it well without making Harriet Tubman Chinese. And she for real. They can make you see if they can make Harriet Tubman Chinese, they would because we have no say. We have no say. If you have the budget, you can make a Spider-Man. You can Harriet something in Spider-Man uniform for real. Like what will you do? If you saw a poster right now with Harriet Tubman, you can do that.
What's the new Spider-Man like? Tom Holland playing Harriet Tubman in the next Spider. No, I think I started glitching. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. So I remember this one, 12 years a slave. I remember when that film came out. They said black black people always think it comes where the slaves, but it's not black people. It's white people like those films, right? I don't mind playing slave movies. I don't hate. I do think they're great, but it just depends on who's making it. Some people making them, hey, I'm good. But yeah,
like that's like leading to like the perspective of that. I think one of the reasons why Sinners was so popular is because there's not too many movies in that time period that's focuses on black people that isn't shown in like a slavery or like a straight like racist
right.
point of view, or like that's like the motive of the movie. So Sinners is a very like horror vampire different motif that like kind of uplifts black people a little bit in that movie.
Yeah, I think the film that for me, what I saw Sinners, right? By the way, you see Sinners out there? You see that even when the film ended, the film continued.
Yeah.
You said, but you stay there.
And then the end credit.
Then they cut it.
Yeah.
Right. So that was crazy because I thought the film ended and I saw them in the bar doing something. The film continued.
Yeah, this where it's like
it was
crazy. In the future, couple like
yeah. So so the thing about Sinners is I like the fact I think the vampire crap was nonsense. I think I'm not here with it. I didn't flow with that. That's cool. That's Hollywood. Yeah. But the African folklore and the voodoo, that part was interesting.
Yeah.
And the way they got that right, the way blues music conjured the spirits and they created this, landscape of voodoo and the South and the sex. That was interesting to me. But the whole white guys turning into vampires trying to kill. I like the relationship between white girl and that black boy. But besides that, everything, the whole vampire and gold thing was cool to see, but it doesn't interest me. The only part that interested me was when the twins were trying to kill each other.
Yeah,
when that was kind of wild deal with,
because you wouldn't expect it to like go back.
Exactly, that part was kind of crazy. But the film, right? In fact, I saw many clips online. People said, "Do not see it. It will affect your mind. Don't see it."
Really?
I saw many clips online. I haven't talked to lady of the house. So I said, she said, "Don't see it," and they don't see. But she left them was concerned to a few people. Like it was very popular online. The reviews, and the people pleading not for folks not to see it. And that's what motivated me to see it. I was like, how are they seeing it?
A lot of people hate this. I kind of want to see why.
No, they didn't hate it. They said it was dangerous. The reviews I saw said, if you watch it and your spirit is not strong, sir, if your spirit is not strong, it affects you mentally. And he could really zero you. If you're not spiritually strong, I was like, I'm strong spiritually. I mean, I love God, and I'm not too far off from faith.
Not too impressionable.
Right, exactly. So I was like, what's the worst gonna happen? And we're a little half crazy anyway. So what's gonna happen? It's gonna take me away.
Yeah.
What if they're gonna get to America?
Right.
Dude. She might be scary for white folks. So
As the Black man America, this doesn't. I'm just saying,
dude, what is the name in America that Nigeria has more?
right.
Come on. So if you are American and you go to Nigeria for the first time, right, your life will change because Nigeria is hard, right? All these gangsters over here, they're like Mickey Mouse, they're like Snow White in Nigeria. Like no gangster in America can survive 1 hour in Lagos. Whoa, what? No, listen, it could be crip, it can be blood, it can be whatever you want to be. If you go to Nigeria and you hang out for real, they'll test your gigs. That's when you find it. That's how you find out how gangster you are. Right? When it cops, you see, when cops stop you, they pull guns everywhere. They say, when a Nigerian cop stops you, right, you don't move. When I mean you don't move, you know not to move, or they'll blow your head away. If you listen,
where it's alleged,
and I see a Nigerian person, a Nigerian policeman on duty can slap 10 U.S. Marines with one hand. A Nigerian policeman on duty, right, that hasn't been paid in 2 weeks, that hasn't had good breakfast, been drinking Hennessy all day, right? When he stops you, traffic stop, you will stop. Put your hands on the dash, bring out your wallet, because you're going to need some money too. When you see his face, his face would take you, his face will strip your U.S. passport. That's how strong his face is. And I was asking him what it meant by Nigeria. Asking the Americans to taste of Nigeria. It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real. So I'm not gonna go into that, but it's real serious. That's why when I see aggravation, when I see cops and they be, pulling black folks to the wall, put their hands on, it's all child's play. It's all child's play because in Africa things slow, and that's why when gangsters from here go that sniff, when it tastes Nigeria, they come back with some stories.
right.
Because it's real.
The more you fuck around, the more you find out.
Oh, you find it out big time. So, when you get to Nigeria, you lose weight. If you're fat and nice here, the minute you land in Nigeria, you lose like 10 pounds. just to sweat to them. So, nobody will tell you that you're in Africa. You'll know for sure. you know the scene Damn. South Africa, all this Egypt, they have beautiful safaris and mountains and giraffes and lions. I'm going, we ain't got that. We ain't got none of that. Things are real. People are hungry. People are sad. People will kill you. And people are not to be played with. You know what I'm saying? As a whole, the whole country. So that's the truth.
That's real.
Yeah.
We're running a little high on time, so we'll get towards the wrap up. I do want to ask you a little bit more about the American Film Awards and what led you to start that brand and like what it means.
Right. So good. The American Film Awards, the AFAS, right? I started it because
What year did you start it?
2004. I was in a bar in Beverly Hills, and I saw Eric Massar. He's an actor from Grey's Anatomy back in the early 90s, the big TV show called Grey's Anatomy. And he was on the star, black guy. And he was also in Pepper's America in the Mafia, tall light skin brown. So I asked him, why. I asked him a question about awards, about Oscars. Why? And he said to me that this guy's getting like $12 million per year for a show. So he's one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood period at that time. And when I asked, there was a question I asked him about, yes, Tom Cruise. At that time, Tom Cruise was nominated 12 times by the Academy Awards and had never won. He had never won. Excuse me, I said to myself, not counting Tom Cruise, the biggest star in the world, not having an Oscar. I said, who has that kind of power? Who makes that choice? Like, who is the person that says you get the award and you don't?
Right.
I said, if they can do that to Tom Cruise, that means we don't have a chance. If they can stop Tom Cruise from getting an Academy Award, and he's a legend, highest paid actor in Hollywood, cannot get the award, then what chance do minorities have? That was the question I asked myself. And I said, I'm going to create something called the American Film Awards, because I wanted it to be like the American Music Awards, which belongs to Dick Clark. Dick Clark, American Bandstand, he owned the trademark for the American Music Awards. I went online to uspto.gov, United States, to the trademark office. I looked at the website and I looked up the American Film Awards name. It was available. So I called them up about the name. That was how I owned the name, the brand name to the American Film Awards, registered trademark in 2001. I've maintained it up to 2025. So you renew it every 10 years, right? So when I had the name, then it took me about 2-3 years to have the first show. That first show was in Hollywood, a small place. Actually, the venue belonged to Gloria Estefan, I think. I think she owned it. Either she owned it or it wasn't Gloria Estefan. Some Latin actress owned it. So I did a show there. I had some few friends help me sponsor it. And then cut down to 2019 to 2022. I had another version of the awards. That's a card I gave to you. Like a matter of fact. So that show, we had it at the AMC theaters, and the following year we had another show, right? So basically, I'm trying to revive it now, because what I knew back then and what I know now is a little different, right? I had a health crisis, and so I didn't do it in 03 and 04, right? But when I relaunch it, the idea is that it becomes a platform where we celebrate our films, American films, not necessarily Hollywood films, but everyone, Latino, Black, American, Nigerian, right? So people get a chance to celebrate their films. So it's really about the 10 best films of the year. Because although we have 1,000 films produced every year, you can only name about 10 that are good. Sometimes you may only name one or five.
Yeah.
But 10 is really the number we chose to be. These are the best films of the year, and that's what we should celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be the top ranking films, but it has to be one of the best films of the year. So the American Film Awards is focused on that and giving a chance to people that will never win the Academy Award. Not that the Academy is not great. It's great, but it's political. Mm-hmm. And also Golden Globe is the same way, and Independent Spirit Award is the same way. It's all politics, right? The American Film Awards, it's for us, by us.
So it's like, forget the bells and whistles of like the marketing, everything goes around the movie. Make it Film Awards is how good is your movie? Like how good is
not just how good your story is. It's about something I created for us, because we can get the mainstream. The Academy Awards is not hanging your door, right? From 1946 when the Academy Award began, how many black folk won it? You can count them on one hand. You know what I'm saying? So we're not going to keep waiting for them. Things have changed. Times change, right? So it's not about winning the Academy Award. It's not really only marker for the best arts form or best director or this director. It's not the benchmark for everything. There's other levels of greatness and excellence within the spectrum. That's what it is. So if I don't believe that you should beg for something that's not then given to you, create your lane, different lane, right? So it is, the Academy Award is there. So also the American Award. So also the Independent Spirit Award. It's also Golden Globe. It's all different lanes. So we have our own.
What's the format for handing out this award?
I show you the awards, right? So it's the same thing. There's a vote system. We'll pick the best films for the year, but then the African diaspora, Nigeria, and French, and then South Africa, and then Europe and America. So they vote, and then we pick best films, and we have a show, like gala night, and we just award the shows.
Do you guys have different categories for shows,
Yes,
or just top 10?
No, the different categories. There's
Okay.
this best fighting film, best action film, best comedy, and best science fiction film. There's best actor, best supporting actor.
Are there 10 categories for what?
No, the 10 major categories.
Okay.
So we're not like doing best science fiction.
Okay.
We're not, there's genres of film. There's also top actors, directors, and producers. That's pretty much it, right? The Academy Awards has, I think, over 50 categories or 60, and some go even when some are not in film, so they give it to you off camera.
Right.
So I'm not trying to different categories. When I like spots it, there's nothing to be because our audience is like, hey, that's right.
Cool.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you for your time. Before we wrap up, we got to hear a little bit more about your background, your philosophy on the film industry.
Yes.
For our aspiring film director, to anyone that wants to reach into that space, do you have any advice for them?
Yes.
Getting to that point.
So your story is king, right? Everything starts with a story. If you have a good story to tell, you got to tell a story. Now, there's the only thing stopping you from telling a story is your will to do it and the money. So if you can raise the money, there's have to be thousands of dollars, but it has to be prolific. So you have to get the right actors in the right space and shoot it quick. There's no not see caressing the story, trying to make it perfect. Nobody has value. There's no value in that. The only value we have is when your product is finished. So get a good editor, get some good actors, sharp actors, sharpen the writing, and shoot it. Just shoot it, and then cut it. And once you have it ready, then you can cut and you shape. Because once you have your film ready, you can deal with soundtracks, you can deal with publishing, you can deal with distribution, you can deal with theater release, you can deal with the money, you can get to the bag faster. Don't complain about the bag, just do the next thing. So by the time you finish the first one, the second one should be cast, right? You know what I'm saying? That's a process.
I like that you bring that up because I know a lot of creatives get in like the trap of starting a lot of projects and like not finishing it or having like that perfectionism.
Oh, you got thing.
They can't finish it because it's just not perfect.
Yeah.
But I like how you flip that mentality on, well, you need to finish your project so you start the next one.
Not only do you finish it, you should book the theater before you finish. You should they should go to call MC. So listen, I need that from Repeat Theater, and on December 25th, that's the release date for my film. You book it, you pay $600, you lock it in. Now you're forced to make the film. Yeah, you got to lock in the feature. You can't just.
So they don't need to see the film before you book the space?
No, of course not. They don't care. They sell popcorn on the screen. This that. That's it. The guy that's actually going to broadcast your film, he's not even going to watch your film. He just takes the tape from you. USB. That's it. Okay, good. Stop. They press play. Audience is sitting there. Those are late. Fine. If you're late, you don't see it. That's nobody cares. Man. Stylists and repeat. You know, there's no beauty. There's no
right. It's much more obtainable to get started than most people would.
Absolutely, because this conversation demystifies all the things, barriers.
Right.
You know, so once you strip that out, get to the bread. And I like Master P. I like all this in the entrepreneurs because they go straight to money. They talk about the back. We like Master P and Baby Lil Wayne's dad. These guys have built empire, and the bottom line is they moved. That's all. Even Tyler, all they did was just move forward. That's it. You know, Spike is great. He's a legendary director. But Spike has to wait for big corporations to give him some money to shoot something. Right? I don't. You don't. Well, we just shoot what we got. One move on. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's still 90 minutes on the screen. Right? So, when you have a tape, you're ready. When you have a tape, you have the audience, you get your money. 3 steps.
Having the willingness and the skill to do something before it's I lost that sentence.
So you sell it before it's ready. You gotta say, you gotta sell it. You gotta sell it before it's ready. Definitely. Yeah. You gotta sell it before it's ready. Because if it's ready, then you start doing marketing and you start. No, get the YouTube channel, right? Show the first video is you writing the script. The script. Second video is you paying for the theater. Third video is casting the film, right? And then that's it. Just keep shit.
Honestly, the behind the scenes is half the movie.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've said, it takes balls. I'm making it seem simple.
Right.
It takes a lot of balls. But what else is it gonna take? Nothing else.
It's just
It's just balls. There's nothing else, right? There's nothing. So it's not getting complicated.
it's not rocket science. It's not like a whole like degree.
There's no spiritual reassurance going on.
Yeah.
It's just a movie. It's not in this long. Shoot it. That's it. Shoot it and said it. If it's crap, shoot it out. Right? Because you're gonna shoot a bunch of crap. That's for sure.
Right.
But
you can't be scared of making crap.
No, of course not. Just make sure you don't make crap. In the trailer, it was something. Right? Now, Marvin Gaye said, if you got your hands on the tit and clit, you got the hit. That's all. I didn't say Marvin Gaye said. So the song gotta be tit, clit, hit. That's it. If you got your finger on the clit and the hit and the tit, you gotta hit.
The hit.
Yeah. So with movies, it's gotta be the story gotta be pumping, fire, like breast, ass. You gotta show it. There's no they didn't come for it to be covered up by Martha Stewart.
I didn't pay $12 for this.
You got to come hard. Blazing guns, big butt, and tell a little story. Story. So fast cars, hungry guys, fights, anger, sadness.
Catching rabbit here.
Well, yeah, nobody has time for the psychology. It has to be OnlyFans on steroid. Because you have no money. Because you're not Warner Brothers, you're not Sony, you're not 20th Century Fox, you're not in HBO. You have no bread. So all you have is balls.
Oh yeah, so you gotta show it.
So that's how I see it, man.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Frank. I really appreciate this conversation with you. I really appreciate getting to share about your background, your philosophies, and your experience on the film industry. And I know I got a lot out of it that I'm sure to apply in the future. And I really hope anyone that watches out there can take it away and apply it further.
Makes sense. Great work you're doing, and appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. All right. Have a great rest of your day. I hope you guys enjoyed and tune in for the next episode. I'll see you guys.